Hello there. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about creating a template. And we're going to pick up with where we left off on our last tutorial. And that tutorial was creating website layouts using CSS in Dreamweaver 2020. Notice I'm in my sandbox project that we created last tutorial. Notice that we have our template for our layout. This template is very slim from a code point of view. Recognize if we really are looking at just the code of this page, we're talking about 10 lines of code, and that's including this larger paragraph in the middle. That's 10 lines of code to create a page that looks like this. And how we did that, if you recall, was that we created an external style sheet that has a number of different styles, div IDs to be precise, that are dictating how these certain elements on our page actually look on the actual browser window. As you see, these IDs match up with these styles. So as we move forward in this video, what we want to do is we first wanted to make sure that we are in the split view. This is a really helpful view to be in for creating templates. The second thing that I want to point out is that as you notice, if we look at this content, you can see that the wrapper, which we know wraps the entire page that we have a banner, we have our nav system, which is here in the blue box, and then we get down to main. And main is where a majority of our content information is showing up. And you can see when I select main, I get a blue box in the top split of this window. Now this is important because what we want to do, and think of it like this, main is kind of like your bedroom, right? These are the four walls that make up your bedroom, and that four walls ends right here in line number 23, which is basically the end of that div. And you can see when I click on main and I scroll down, it highlights it here. I'm going to add a tag. If you recall from yesterday's tutorial, I'm going to apply a comment, an HTML comment, and I'm going to say content end in this comment so that I know that this div is really where this main content is ending. And you can honestly change it. Instead of content, I'll use main to be a little more consistent. So that's the end div of our main ID. Now, that's your bedroom. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are only making changes to the interior of this room that's called main. If I wanted to change the way your room looked, I would change the paint, I would change the curtains, I would move furniture around, but all of that is being done within the four walls of your bedroom. So the content that we are going to be changing on other pages is what we want to select. We do not want to highlight the ID main or its closing tag. We only want to highlight the content information that is being placed in the main container. After that, what we can do is there's a couple of different things that we can take care of. Is when you have all of that content selected, you can right click in this top area here, go to templates, and we're going to be creating what's called an editable region. There's two other ways that you can do that. And the other way would be to go to the insert menu across top, go down to the template menu that's very close to the bottom and click editable region. The third way is by utilizing the templates panel in the insert panel up top. And you'll see this little icon with the pencil on it. When I move my cursor over it, it says editable region. When you click any one of those three, you will get a new editable region box. And I'm going to call this editable region content because this editable region is in the main div, and it's where I'm going to place all the unique content for each one of my future pages. I'm going to click OK. And the real quick visual in the split mode is that you notice you get this little green icon, and when I click on it, it is selecting all the content in this green highlighted area or outlined area. And as you notice down below, when I go into the code view, you can see that Dreamweaver automatically added a new tag to begin an editable region and to end the editable region. Did you notice this a little bit nasty code? Dreamweaver doesn't do a nice job of spacing out. So I personally go into here and I will simply make sure that I'm ending all of these elements in the right lines. I'm going to actually hit some enters, some deletes, and get things a little bit more spaced out so that when I come back to look at it from a troubleshooting point of view, all this content information, and I'm just highlighting and using tabs, but notice it's just a little bit neater. Dreamweaver doesn't do a great job of that, so we're going to clean up our room, if you will. Now, with that being said, I'll hit the Save button. And really the only difference you notice in this page is just the editable region that I name content, and it's highlighting. When I click on that green tab, it highlights all the content that is happening in between it. And to go back to our analogy before, remember, I am not modifying the walls of my room or the structure, in this case, of my site. I am only changing or editing the content information that is in between the structure that we have for our website. So the final step is going to be to use this template to create multiple pages on my website. So instead of me, if I have a website that is going to have 4, 5, 25 different pages, I don't want to have to create this page over and over and over again. I want to save a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new page, but this way it's going to be a little different. I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to New, and instead of selecting the new document area, I'm going to go down here to where it says Site Templates. And this is why it's important that when you create the template DWT file, or in this case, layout template, this is important that these template DWT files are all saved in this templates folder here, as you see to the right. Because that way, when I select the current project I'm working on, which is my sandbox, you'll notice that over here in this menu that it shows me the layout template that I'm currently working on as an option. It is important to make sure that this checkbox is turned on. By default, it should be, and I'm then going to create. Now, if you don't look carefully, you won't even see what happened, but it actually opened up a brand new page, and in my case, it named it entitled 7. And here's how you can tell that it's a template. When I roll over content, notice I can get access to and I can change the template headline. But when I go outside of the editable region, which we created, known as content, it doesn't allow me to make any changes. It's because the cursor is going outside of this editable region. And when you look at the code, you will see that all the code is kind of grayed out. It doesn't allow me to make changes to those areas because they are not editable. Only the content information, and you can see how the content that's in between the editable region tag that we created allows me to edit it. If I go back up top, notice that now I have my template page still there. This is open, and when I look at this code, you can see that I can edit and modify the template. But when I created a file, new, site template, based off of this template, those new pages, I cannot change anything outside of the editable region. And that's how we want it. And here's why. I'm going to save this page here, and notice that I'm on my index page, or my page. It's called entitled 7. I'm going to name this, just for this exercise, junk. Actually, let's name it index, because index will generally be the first page of every website. So let's call this index instead of junk. And I'm going to hit the save button. And once I did that, I now have my layout template.dwt with an editable region. I have my layout CSS that defines how those divs are going to look, and I have my index.htm. And when I look at that, it allows me to modify the content, but not any of the areas outside. Here's the benefit of templates. I can go through that process over and over. And usually what I'll do is I'll go in here and I'll change this because this is going to be my home page. We know that the file name is index, but the page name is home. And I'll save that. And I'm then going to go File, New. And I'm going to go to Site Templates, my sandbox, create a new page. in this page is going to be maybe my About Us page. And I'm going to save this page as About. So now I have two new pages. Recognize my website is only two pages. The template is a tool. Just like the analogy we've used, cookie cutters are tools. We don't eat cookie cutters. When we're finished using the tool to create a number of different cookies, we put the tool away in the drawer until the next time we're going to be baking. Same holds true here. That tool is in my templates folder. When I'm done with it, I put it away. The pages that are using this tool are About and Index. And I would then look in these pages here and I notice that I've changed the title, but also I can't make any changes outside of the editable region. Here's how we make changes to maybe our menu for navigation. All changes for areas outside of this content editable region must be made in your template file. So I'm going to go back to my template. And let's say I wanted to make a change to my navigation. And maybe I'm going to start making some navigation. So I've got a home button, and I'm going to use my About Us button. So now I've got this navigation structure up top, and I'm going to be linking to my pages that I've already created. If I highlight home, I'm going to create my hyperlink. You can do it one of two ways. If this way, I go into the Insert HTML hyperlink, and I'm going to then navigate to my index page. Click OK. I'm going to highlight my About Us. I'm going to insert a hyperlink, and I'm going to add a link to my About Us page or about.htm page. OK. And I'm going to hit Save. Now, I've created this change, and I'm not really worried about the colors. When I go back to my index page, notice that that has not updated. And my About Us page has also not updated. One little glitch that we do have to kind of give Dreamweaver a little bit of a nudge. And in order to do that, instead of being on my template page, I'm going to click over here and select my index page. And I'm paying careful attention to this area. I'm going to go to Tools. I'm going to scroll down to the Library option, and I'm going to say Update Current Page. And when I click that, notice that my index.htm page has automatically updated with the information that was on the template page. I can go to my About Us, Tools, Library, Update Pages, and notice if I hit Update Pages, it did not update. I need to make sure that I go to Tools, Library, Update Current Page. And when you do that, recognize that then that update has been made. The other thing that you can do, and after I save all of these files, recognize these are all changed. Maybe I've decided that, you know what, I want to have a third page in there, and this is going to be my menu page that I'm going to add. When I hit the Save button, I don't get any messages here. What we should be seeing is that this is going to be updating our site. Sometimes what is best is if you are adding changes to a non-editable region, close the pages that you are wanting to change, make that change to the menu, and then maybe I'm going to say I'm going to have a Contact Us page. When I hit the Save button, if you go ahead and then open up, sometimes these pages will automatically, my index page, sometimes they will update. If you are not seeing that that they don't get the updates that you've made on your template page, remember, select the page, Tools, Library, Update Current Page. And now I'm only making, yes, it is one extra step in terms of clicking the Tools, Library, Update Current Page. But I do have consistency across all of them. I don't have to update the navigation on these pages, because then if I go back to here and I'd say, no, I don't want those pages, but I do want them to update on my entire website, I can hit the save button, making sure that when I go back into my About page, Tools, Library, Update Current Page, and you can notice that now it's picking up the changes that I made only on this template page. I don't need to add the whole new navigation. I just simply need to, in essence, refresh that page so that it recognizes the changes were made on the template that it was based off of. And speaking of that, how do you know what template is being used? If you look up here in the top right corner of the page, you can see in this little yellow box, template layout or layout template is a template that is being utilized for this particular page. And any of the other pages, you will see that holds true. Make sure you save your page. And lastly, let's check it on a browser window known as Google Chrome. And when you check it on Google Chrome, I'm on my home page, I go to my About, and that's the reason why you can see that I'm making changes to my headlines so that I know that I'm navigating to the new pages. When I click on my home page, it doesn't look, I get a really nice transition. It almost looks as if I'm not going anywhere, and the only thing that's changing here is the page title, and we call that transition. You get a nice clean transition from one page to the next, all because we are using templates in Dreamweaver with editable regions. Best of luck, and I hope if you have questions, you'll let me know. Thanks again, Noel. Take care.